Suddenly, a heavily subsidized shopping mall appeared on my phone. It was selling luxury cars and villas for only 10 cents each. I stared at the tiny balance in my bank account, just 10 yuan, and fell into deep thought. How could these people scam someone as poor as me? Did they seriously have no conscience at all? Just as I was about to close the app, I accidentally tapped a purchase notification. A message immediately popped up. Congratulations on successfully purchasing the limited edition Porsche 911 GT 198. Your item will be delivered within 5 minutes. My eyes widened in disbelief. Then I received an SMS notification from my bank. 10 cents have been successfully deducted from debit card number 2222. Current balance, 9.9 yuan. Wait, my money was barely even touched. What was going on? I was completely stunned. Then I felt something inside my pocket. I reached in and pulled it out. It was an actual Porsche car key. I took a deep breath. Could all of this really be real? I quickly pulled out my phone again and spotted another item. Dongjiao No. 1 Villa. I tapped it without hesitation. Congratulations, you have successfully booked Dongjiao No. 1 Villa. Today's stock has been sold out. Please wait for the next update. Seeing that message, I finally understood. The store obviously refreshed its inventory only once a day. Still, I had no idea how a villa was supposed to be delivered to me. Whatever. First, I needed to check out my Porsche. I opened the app and checked the location. It showed that the car was parked in the mall parking lot right next to my apartment complex. I immediately ran toward the mall. When I arrived, I saw a group of people surrounding someone, all talking at once. A Mercedes owner was standing there with a miserable expression, muttering to himself, "It's over. Completely over. Even if I sold myself, I still wouldn't be able to afford it." The crowd exchanged confused looks. "It's just a Porsche. Your Mercedes isn't bad either. Why are you saying you can't afford it?" The Mercedes owner shouted, "Don't you know? This is a limited edition Porsche. There is only one in the entire world and it costs 800 million. Everyone around him immediately looked at him with sympathy. I somehow squeezed my way through the crowd and saw what had happened. A Mercedes had scraped the rear of the Porsche. The Mercedes paint had been torn off, but the Porsche did not have even a single scratch. Fine, fine. You don't need to look so depressed. You don't have to pay for this car. Just leave." The Mercedes owner looked me up and down. Seeing my cheap clothes, he shook his head with a mocking smile. "Bro, stop joking. How could this car possibly belong to you? You're not the owner, so don't interfere." Listening to their argument, I simply smiled calmly. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the key, and lightly pressed it. Beep, beep. The moment the sound rang out, the interior lights of the Porsche suddenly turned on. The entire place went silent. Every face around me was filled with disbelief. The Mercedes owner's shock and instantly turned into joy. He immediately changed his attitude. "Brother, no, big brother, look at your car. It's completely fine. I told you already there's no need to pay anything. Please, just move your car." It was as if he had been granted amnesty. He jumped into his Mercedes, started the engine, and sped away faster than a rabbit. I sat in the driver's seat, feeling an unmatched level of comfort. I could not stop myself from sighing. So this is what a Porsche feels like. I drove through the streets of Shanghai, enjoying the thrill of speed. At that moment, only a famous line from the lucky man Wang Duoyu could describe how I felt. "I wanted to speak to you like an ordinary person, but all I received was distance. Now I'm not pretending anymore. I'm laying all my cards on the table." Suddenly my phone rang. I casually turned on speaker mode and answered it. "Hello, sir. This is the sales office of East Suburb No. 1. Your villa is ready. When would you like to come and collect it?" The moment I heard that sweet voice, a massive smile spread across my face, a smile harder to control than a loaded gun. "All right, I'm on my way." I immediately turned on navigation, stepped on the accelerator, and rushed toward the sales office. At the East Suburb Villa sales office, the saleswoman who had just put down the phone was glowing with excitement. "Manager, we have contacted Mr. Zhang." The moment she said that, every employee became excited. "Oh my God, Mr. Zhang, the man who angrily spent 600 million buying a penthouse, is finally coming." All the female sales consultants began calculating in their minds. They were thinking about how to make a good impression on Mr. Zhang, and more importantly, how to get his contact information. Meanwhile, inside the manager's office, the manager heard the report. "We've contacted Mr. Zhang." The manager instantly became nervous. Mr. Zhang had been assigned here under direct instructions from the top leadership. There was absolutely no room for carelessness. They had to welcome him with the highest possible respect. The manager walked around the building and strictly warned everyone, "From now on, all of you must perform at your absolute best." At that moment, I drove into the parking lot. As soon as I entered the sales office, a female salesperson walked over with a smile. "Hello, sir. How may I help you?" Before I could say anything, a sharp voice interrupted me. "Xiao Li, didn't I tell you? Today, we are not serving just any ordinary person." A well-dressed, middle-aged woman walked toward me. She looked me up and down, then spoke with clear contempt. "Sorry, if you're not here to buy a house, please leave immediately." I frowned when I heard that. What did she mean? Was I not even allowed to come inside and take a look? Seeing that I still had the nerve to stand there, the woman mocked me. "We don't let just anyone view our properties. Looking at how miserable you are, even if you lived 10 lifetimes, you still wouldn't be able to afford a single apartment here." Her arrogant attitude made me frown even more deeply. I lightly shook my head. I had no desire to waste words on someone like her, so I simply took out my phone. I dialed the same number again. A sweet voice answered immediately. "Sir, have you arrived? I'm in your sales office lobby, but your staff's hospitality isn't exactly impressive. They're about to throw me out." An incredulous voice came from the other end. "How is that possible? Mr. Zhang, please wait a moment. The manager and I will be right there." Inside the manager's office, Manager Song's face turned as dark as the bottom of a clay pot. She could not believe that despite all her repeated warnings, someone had still dared to insult the mysterious Mr. Zhang. Before she could say another word, she and the manager rushed toward the first-floor lobby. When the female supervisor saw that I had ended the call, her expression became even uglier. "Boy, you've really gone too far. Let's see who you can possibly call here." Just then, Manager Song came rushing downstairs and saw the entire scene. Her anger immediately exploded. "You heartless bastard! What do you think you're doing?" Hearing that scream, the female supervisor jumped in fright. But the moment she recognized the person, a sly smile appeared on her face. "Manager Song, why are you here? Is Mr. Zhang about to arrive? Don't worry, I'll chase this troublemaker away right now." Then she turned toward me, pointed at me angrily, and shouted, "Did you hear that? Our VIP guest is about to arrive. Are you going to leave on your own, or do I need to call security and have you thrown out?" Before she could finish, Manager Song was already furious beyond words. "How dare you? Who do you think you're talking to?" Her roar shook the lobby. After that angry outburst, Manager Song quickly walked past the woman and came straight toward me. Under the shocked gazes of every salesperson, she bent down in a full 90-degree bow. "Mr. Zhang, we sincerely apologize for making you wait. I'm the manager of East Suburb Number 1. You may call me Xiao Song. My subordinate employees have offended you. Please do not take it to heart." The moment Manager Song spoke, everyone present was stunned. The plain-looking young man standing in front of them was actually the mysterious Mr. Zhang. This influential person had dressed in such a simple and understated way. Meanwhile, the female supervisor was trembling in fear. Her face had turned pale. "Manager Song, you're joking, right?" Manager Song looked at her coldly. "I warned all of you long ago not to underestimate any customer. You ignored what I said, didn't you? Go to Human Resources and submit your resignation immediately." The female supervisor collapsed to her knees with a thud. She began crying and begging for mercy. "Manager Song, I made a mistake. Please give me one more chance. I'll never do it again." Manager Song did not even look at her. She simply smiled at me. "Mr. Zhang, please come inside." I gave a brief hum and walked toward her. Manager Song was filled with mixed emotions. She had assumed that I would be at least 30 or 40 years old. She never expected me to be so young. Could I be the son of some wealthy family from the film and television industry? "Mr. Zhang, you are truly young and promising. This villa is worth 600 million yuan. It had remained unsold for so many years that it had practically become an obsession for our chairman. Your purchase has finally fulfilled one of our chairman's wishes." I felt a little guilty inside. This villa was worth 600 million yuan, yet I had bought it through an app for only 1 cent. That was an absurdly cheap deal. I casually waved my hand and said softly, "It wasn't that expensive. I was telling the truth. After all, it had only cost 1 cent. But when Manager Song heard that, she understood it in a completely different way. She immediately realized that 600 million meant nothing to me. After finishing the formalities, Manager Song respectfully escorted me to the entrance. When she saw my limited edition Porsche, her eyes instantly widened. As a car enthusiast, she immediately recognized it as the only Porsche 911 in the world. She knew very well that money alone was not enough to buy a car like this. You also needed an extremely powerful background. Under Manager Song's increasingly impressed gaze, I drove toward East Suburb Number 1. My villa stood right in the center of the entire villa district. It had the largest area and the best location. In front of me stood a perfect 4-story detached villa, complete with its own fountain, garden, and outdoor swimming pool. That was when I noticed something. Inside another villa, a well-dressed woman was standing with a cup of coffee in her hand, staring at Villa Number 1. "Uncle Zhang, does this villa have a new owner?" The elderly man standing behind her nodded firmly. "Yes, madam. Villa Number 1 was purchased by a young man with the surname Zhang. I'm currently investigating his identity." The woman slowly shook her head. "Don't investigate him for now. Anyone who can afford this place must have an extraordinary background. He is probably some rich young master. Investigating carelessly will only bring trouble." Hearing that, Uncle Zhang immediately lowered his head. "It was my carelessness, madam." The woman thought to herself. The way he moved into this place was so casual and simple. There was no fanfare at all. It was as if a luxurious home worth 600 million meant absolutely nothing to him. This mysterious neighbor had sparked my curiosity. "Uncle Zhang, when you visit Mr. Zhang tomorrow, bring him a bottle of Kang Wei from the year 1990 as a gift." Meanwhile, I sat down on the sofa. My eyes rested on the magnificent crystal chandelier above me. I shook my head bitterly, feeling somewhat stunned. I was driving a sports car worth 80 million yuan. I was living in a villa worth 600 million yuan. Yet I only had 9.8 yuan left. To be honest, I could barely even afford the property management fees. I needed to find a source of income. It was 11:50 at night and I was feeling a little nervous. The software was supposed to refresh today. Wow, this was incredible. Right after midnight, a new listing appeared. 120 apartments in Building 1 of Junyu Huading Community, available with a subsidy price of only 1 cent. I was stunned when I saw the listing. Are you kidding me? This was the exact apartment complex where I had been renting. 80% of the residents in this community were tenants. It was close to a metro station and right beside a science park. Every apartment was worth at least 5 million yuan. There were more than 120 apartments in Building 1 alone. That meant a total value of 6 billion yuan. Wow, I bought it. A purchase confirmation message immediately appeared. Delivery in progress. Estimated delivery time, 15 minutes. Please check. 15 minutes later, 2 cardboard boxes fell onto the floor. They were packed full of property ownership certificates. I could barely hold my breath. My eyes widened. This was real wealth. I picked up one certificate and turned it over. Address: Unit 101, Building 1, Juyu Huating Community. Usable area: 98.3 square meters. Owner: Zhang Xiaofei. The moment I saw those words, my mouth went dry. My name was written on every single certificate. I vaguely remembered someone once asking me how long it would take to go from being broke to becoming a billionaire. Now I felt ready to answer, just 15 minutes. Junyu Huating was a popular neighborhood. Even shared rooms there, rented for 2,000 to 3,000 yuan per month. I quickly did the calculations. If all 120 units were rented out, the rental income alone would be massive. A huge smile appeared on my face as I thought about the investment. Capital was a dangerous thing, but now I was the owner of that capital. Excited, I went to sleep. The next morning, after taking a shower, I frowned slightly. The villa was huge, but it had no practical use for me yet. I still needed to move my belongings out of my rented apartment. Carrying 2 boxes of property documents, I went straight to Juyui Huading. I parked across the street at Ligia Real Estate. The agent was very polite. He assumed I was just another ordinary rich kid. Then I told him that I had 2 entire buildings available for rent. A trace of disappointment appeared in the agent's eyes. He thought he would not earn much commission. "Which 2 properties are they, sir? Do you have the property ownership certificates?" I pointed at the 2 boxes of certificates. He casually opened them, then froze in shock. Were both of these boxes really filled with property ownership certificates? Then he suddenly remembered something. "Are you Mr. Zhang, the man who bought 2 buildings? Earlier that morning, News had already spread after the boxes had been opened in front of real estate agents. Every agent wanted to contact the mysterious Mr. Zhang, and now he was standing right in front of him. I lightly nodded. Yes, that's me. If all these apartments were rented out, the commission alone could make him rich. The agent thought about it, and his face became extremely excited. How long will I have to wait before I can rent all of these out? The agent snapped out of his daze. Mr. Zhang, this deal is too big. I need to call my manager. He ran toward the manager's office, shouting, Manager Joe! Manager Joe! Manager Joe frowned slightly. What is it? Can't you see I'm on the phone? Manager Joe, Mr. Zhang is here. Mr. Zhang? Mr. Li? This is just a small matter. Just as he was about to scold him again, he suddenly remembered something. You mean Mr. Zhang, the man who bought 2 buildings? Manager Joe immediately put down the phone and ran toward the hall. When he saw me, his eyes burned with desire. I was standing there with 2 boxes of property documents in my hands. Hello, Mr. Zhang. I'm the manager here. You may call me Xiao Zhou. I nodded. If these apartments can be rented out quickly, I can hand them over to your agency exclusively. Manager Joe immediately became excited. He patted his chest and declared that no one could be more reliable than him. Mr. Zhang, would you like to have a meal with me? I waved my hand and refused. No, thank you. I still need to move my belongings. Manager Joe was stunned for a moment, then spoke firmly. Leave it to us. When I reached the door of my rented apartment on the 17th floor of the complex, I was shocked to discover that all of my belongings had been thrown outside. The moment I stepped into the room, my landlady greeted me warmly. You're back. You came at exactly the right time. Pick up all this junk and get out of here. I calmly replied, I remember that there are still 6 days left on our contract. Throwing my belongings outside now is a clear violation of the agreement. The landlady placed her hands on her waist. So what if I violated the contract? At that exact moment, Manager Joe rushed in through the door. The landlady's expression changed the moment she saw him because she had completely broken the contract. She had been privately showing the room to other tenants, something that could result in a serious penalty for her. Manager Joe's expression instantly turned cold. Madam, please watch your words and show some respect. This is our big brother, Mr. Zhang, the owner of over 100 properties. The landlady stared at me in disbelief. You must be mistaken. He's just a tenant. How could you possibly be wrong? We have the property certificates. The landlady could not understand why a rich person like me would rent a place like this. After a moment, she lowered her voice and apologized. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang. This was all a misunderstanding. I sneered. Now you're calling it a misunderstanding? You will still have to pay the penalty for breaking the contract. And you damaged my personal belongings as well, so prepare to see me in court. The landlady was stunned. She could not process what had just happened. How did things turn out like this, Mr. Zhang? Can I pay double the compensation? Can we avoid going to court? I shook my head. Did I look like someone short of money? I looked toward Manager Joe. He smiled and nodded. Don't worry, I have experience dealing with this. After settling the issue with the apartment, it was already 3 in the afternoon. I quickly packed my belongings and returned to my villa in the eastern suburbs. I was wondering what I should do that evening when the doorbell rang. I opened the door and saw a neatly dressed man around 50 years old standing outside with a gift box in his hands. Excuse me? I looked at him in slight confusion. May I ask who you are? Hello, sir. I'm from house number 2 across the street. My mistress heard that a new neighbor had arrived, so she specifically sent me to visit you. Hearing that, I opened the door wider. Your mistress is very kind. My name is Zhang Xiaofei. Please come in. After delivering the gift and exchanging contact information, the elderly butler stood up and left. As I watched his departing figure, I thought to myself, Villa number 2, huh? Rich people really are interesting. Then I opened the beautiful gift box. Inside was a bottle of red wine with a pale yellow label. Romani Conti, year 1990. Oh my God. A bottle of Romani Conti from 1990? I knew a little about wine. This was practically the king of wines. A single bottle could cost more than 300,000 yuan. Such an expensive gift on our very first meeting? Was this just how rich people behaved? What I did not know was that the young lady from Villa number 2 believed I was the son of an extremely powerful family. To outsiders, spending 300,000 yuan just to befriend a rich young man might sound wasteful, but in her eyes, it was a guaranteed investment. At around 7 in the evening, just as I was about to play King of Glory, I received a call from my team leader, Lu Royan. I answered in confusion. Why didn't you come to the company today? Then I remembered that I was supposed to go to work. Something came up, I casually replied. My team leader's voice sounded a little low. All right, you don't need to come in anymore. Our company is going bankrupt. You will receive your salary. When money was transferred into my card, I was a little surprised. Why had my card been blocked, even though I had not gone to the company for a single day? The message said, please come to Rose Hall on the second floor of Pujiang Hall at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. There will be a farewell lunch for everyone. I thought about it for a moment. After all, we had been co-workers for a year. There was still some familiarity between us, so I agreed. The next morning at 8 o'clock, I opened the One New Video app while having breakfast. Today's items had been updated. A Roger Dolby King Series X0406 watch, along with a multiplier cashback card. I knew about Roger Dolby. It was a relatively new brand. It could not compare with established giants such as Patek Philippe or Vacheron Constantin, but in terms of quality and elegance, Roger Dolby was no less impressive. I looked up the watch and found that it was worth 4.2 million yuan. I was shocked, but I clicked on it without hesitation. The moment I pressed purchase, a message appeared on the screen. Congratulations, purchase successful. Estimated delivery time, 3 hours. The delivery time was a little long, but I ignored it. A consumer cashback card? What did that mean? I decided to buy it first. While I was eating breakfast, I received another message. Ningwei debit card, ending in 22. March income of 2,001,200 yuan received. Current account balance, 2,001,209.8 yuan. I was stunned. Then manager Joe from Ligia Real Estate sent me a message. It turned out that several of my 120 apartments had already been rented out. The speed at which I was making money was truly shocking. After that, I transferred 200,000 yuan to my mother. I actually wanted to give her even more, but unfortunately, there was a limit. If I suddenly gave her too much at once, she might get scared. Even so, she was still frightened. Then that familiar phone call came. Son, where did you get so much money? My mother asked worriedly. After all, 200,000 yuan was a huge amount for our family. I quickly came up with an excuse. Mom, I earned this money through a company I started with my friend. This is the profit from the company. Hearing that, my mother finally relaxed. Your father and I have money for our expenses. We'll save these 200,000 yuan for your marriage. I talked to my mother for nearly 20 minutes before hanging up. At that moment, another notification appeared on my phone. The cashback card has arrived. Please check the item menu for details. I clicked it and carefully read through all the information. After using it, my next purchase would receive up to 10 times cashback. My eyes lit up. There were still a few hours before 10 o'clock. I should buy some clothes first. I went to Birmingham Plaza and walked straight to the Armani counter. Inside the store, a fat man wearing a thick gold chain around his neck was standing with a young woman. He looked at me as if he were saying, "How can Armani do business like this? This guy is dressed like a street stall vendor, and you still dare let him enter?" The female salesperson looked at me strangely. Clearly, she thought the same thing. But even so, she still began introducing their best collection. "What are your most exclusive signature items?" She quickly replied, "The 7 pieces in front of you are the main collection for this season." Before she could finish, I waved my hand. "All right, pack them all up." The salesperson froze. "Sir, I can't accept this," I smiled. "Hey, there's no need to be embarrassed. Mr. Zhang, just take it." Hearing my words, Zhang Fu's eyelids twitched. His expression became serious. "Mr. Zhang, this tea costs 15,000 yuan per can. If you're willing to sell it, I can buy it." I was slightly surprised. There were still 28 unopened cans at my house. Their total value was at least 21 million yuan. Pretending to be casual, I calmly said, "Mr. Zhang, don't be so polite. I still have plenty more at home. I can't finish it all anyway. I was even thinking of using it to make tea eggs." Zhang Fu suddenly felt a headache coming on. What a waste. What an unbelievable waste. Mr. Zhang, how much tea do you have left? I would like to buy it." Hearing that, I was delighted, like a fish taking the bait. But on the surface, I still pretended to be indifferent. "Maybe around 10 cans left. If you're interested, come and take them. I was planning to make tea eggs with them anyway. They aren't worth much." My words nearly made Zhang Fu faint. 7 million yuan, and I was calling it not worth much? Was this what a truly rich man looked like? Still, Zhang Fu was not about to take it for free. Nothing in this world came without a price. No, I'm genuinely interested in buying the tea. Hearing that, I smiled and put on an unconcerned expression. Then let's talk. After some discussion, I finally sold him 10 cans of tea at 750,000 yuan per can. In less than half a minute, another 7.5 million yuan entered my pocket. On the second floor of Villa number 2, a red-haired girl looked at the tea in front of her with a smile on her lips. Wrong. It seems this Mr. Zhang is quite an impressive person. Uncle Zhang, keep 1 can for yourself, give some to your friends, and I'll give the rest to the old man when he turns 70. Meanwhile, I kept staring at the balance message on my phone. More than 10 million yuan. I had become a multi-millionaire. This money was coming in faster than robbing a bank. Once more, apartment rent came in, another large sum would enter my account. Still, the Zhang family might be far more than just servants. The man's attitude at the Armani store yesterday, combined with today's 7.5 million yuan deal, suggested that he had a special identity. Whatever, forget it. I should go pick up my car first. I took a taxi to my cousin's home in Pujiang. The security guard from yesterday was still there. The moment he saw me, he smiled and greeted me. Mr. Zhang, you're here. Your car is parked over there. I promise you won't need anyone else's opinion. No one was sitting in the car. As a security guard, he had noticed that there were empty parking spaces on both sides of it. I immediately became happy. I took out a few more red bank notes, and amid the security guard's repeated praise, I drove away. Mr. Zhang is so handsome. The car had temporary license plates, and now I needed permanent ones. I had no idea how the app worked. Normally, the traffic management department would never move this quickly, but I made just 1 phone call, and the entire process was completed in less than 20 minutes. After receiving the license plate, I drove through University Town, attracting the attention of many young people. There was not much food at home. Thinking about that, I parked beside the supermarket across from the university. 20 minutes later, I walked out of the supermarket carrying my shopping bags and saw a large crowd gathered around my car. A young woman was taking pictures in front of it. I looked her up and down. Her beauty was easily above 90 out of 100, and it looked completely natural. My eyes lit up and I walked toward her with a smile. Just then, a woman dressed in flashy clothes grabbed me. What's wrong with you? Can't you see everyone is standing in line? Are you trying to cut in? A girl beside me added, Exactly. That guy down there has no manners at all. You're taking pictures. Are you done yet? Why are you taking so long? The beautiful girl taking photos immediately became embarrassed. Just a moment, I'll be finished soon, she said softly. The heavily made-up woman spoke again. Juan, does my makeup look okay? Do you think the car owner will like us? Don't worry. With our beauty, winning him over will be easy. Hearing that, I looked both girls up and down. 2 overly made-up green tea girls. Where did they get so much confidence? I shook my head. The girl named Juan immediately raised her eyebrows. Why are you shaking your head? Do you think you're the owner of this car? I took out my car key and lightly pressed it. Click, click. The headlights flashed. I opened the car door and said, Sorry, this car really does belong to me. Then I looked toward the girl who had been taking photos of the car. Since you're already taking photos, why don't you take some inside the car too? The girl immediately blushed. She sat in the passenger seat and the door closed behind her. The 2 women outside were already red with embarrassment. Remembering their earlier ridiculous words, they wished they could disappear into the car. After hesitating for a moment, Juan bent down, lowered her head, and leaned toward the window. Hey, handsome, we're having fun too. Can we come in and take a few photos? She swayed her body and deliberately pulled at her clothes while speaking. The moment I saw that, I felt instantly disgusted. Sorry, this car only welcomes human beings. Then I stepped on the accelerator and drove away quickly. The woman named Juan jumped in anger. It's just some beat-up BMW. I see Ferraris and Lamborghinis all the time. Who cares about your beat-up BMW? The people around her were left speechless. What kind of move was that? A man standing nearby burst into laughter. Do you really think you can stop me? A Ferrari? That was a 911 GT RF. When Shanshan learned that it was a car worth 80 million yuan, she was completely stunned. Turning toward the other woman, she screamed, This is all your fault. If it wasn't for you, you green tea bitch. How could I have missed that handsome guy? Who are you calling a green tea bitch? In an instant, their fake friendship fell apart. The 2 women grabbed each other's hair and started wrestling. One male spectator said, Wow, amazing. I knew absolutely nothing about all of this. At that time, I was driving through University Town with a girl beside me. Her name was Du Qian, and she was a second-year student at the nearby Shanghai University. Do you want to take pictures? Feel free to take them inside the car. Hearing that, Du Qian nodded. She took out her phone, and her long legs filled half the screen. The rest of the frame showed my watch and the car logo. Seeing the photos, I could not stop myself from sighing. Wow, what a difference. Later, she found out from my WeChat moments that the watch I was wearing was worth more than 1 million yuan. I was surprised. After driving around for a while, I invited her to lunch. Du Qian's eyes lit up, but she still pretended to hesitate and act shy. In the end, she lightly nodded. All right. I casually chose a buffet restaurant. Du Qian had assumed I would take her to some expensive restaurant, but I explained that people never got full at those places, and I would still have to make noodles at home afterward. She could not stop herself from laughing. Meanwhile, at a hot pot restaurant upstairs in the mall, a middle-aged man looked frustrated. He was G. Boda, the Mercedes-Benz owner who had scratched my car before. The fat man sitting beside him tried to comfort him. Brother Boda, you only missed a chance to make a friend. What's there to feel depressed about? The middle-aged man became even angrier. What do you know? If we had become friends because of the compensation last time, then just the things the other side casually showed with a flick of his finger could have taken us several floors higher. Another companion mocked him after hearing that. All right. Shanghai's social circle is limited. Sooner or later, you'll meet again. The group continued eating and planned to go out for drinks later. Just as they were about to leave, a voice called out, "Is that Brother Boda? Big Brother Wang?" G. Boda turned around and saw a blonde-haired man with a thick gold chain around his neck while looking at him excitedly. G. Boda immediately remembered him. It was Song Chi-hai, one of his subordinates. This man was a newly rich guy. His family used to own several houses in Shanghai, and after demolition compensation, their assets had reached tens of millions. He had met G. Boda at a party before. What a coincidence. What are you doing here, little Song? I just finished eating with my girlfriend, Brother Boda. Are you going out? Can I come with you? Meanwhile, I had finished eating with Du Qian. I asked her to wait outside while I paid the bill. Unexpectedly, the moment Du Qian walked out of the restaurant, someone started causing trouble for her. Isn't this the joke of Shanghai University? How can you eat at such a cheap restaurant? I had just walked out the door and was about to say something when that woman continued. Oh, is this your boyfriend? He looks decent enough, but unfortunately, he's broke. My face immediately turned cold. Looks like you came from some expensive restaurant. Hearing that, the woman's face filled with pride. Of course. My boyfriend and I just had premium steak, at least 1,000 yuan per person. I nodded. Your boyfriend must have a huge appetite. Both women froze for a moment, while I looked at her with contempt. If he didn't have a huge appetite, how else could he eat you? Du Qian burst into laughter at my words, while the woman trembled in anger. She turned around and saw her boyfriend approaching with several other people. Then she pointed at me and complained to the blonde-haired man. Darling, this man is harassing me. Help me teach him a lesson. The moment G. Boda saw me, he cried out in joy, as if tears were about to come to his eyes. It was the Porsche owner he had wanted to meet for so long. Beside him, Song Chi-hai, the blonde-haired man, turned red with anger. He stepped forward in just a few strides, pointed at me, and shouted, "You bastard! Are you tired of living? How dare you harass my woman?" The moment those words left his mouth, G. Boda's face completely changed. Looking at the blonde-haired man, his anger exploded. He rushed forward and kicked him hard. Bang! The blonde-haired man crashed to the ground. At the same time, G. Boda's furious voice echoed out. Who gave you permission to speak to this gentleman like that? The blonde-haired man lay on the ground, his eyes completely lifeless, as he stared blankly at what had just happened. G. Boda, however, was filled with excitement and anticipation. Brother, I never expected to meet you here. I looked at the man standing before me. You look familiar. Brother, it's me. We met in the parking lot before. I was driving that Mercedes-Benz at the time. Mr. Zhang? What kind of situation was this? Then I suddenly realized it. He was the Mercedes-Benz driver who had hit my car. Brother, my name is G. Boda. You can call me Xiao Ji. His attitude was unbelievably respectful. Meanwhile, the blonde-haired guy's mind had completely stopped working. How was this possible? What exactly had happened? Even Brother Boda had to call this guy brother. Who was he? I glanced at the blonde-haired man who was still trying to act tough. You know him? Everyone's eyes turned back to the blonde-haired man. He was so terrified that he nearly jumped up. Stammering, he said, "Brother, I made a mistake. I didn't mean it." I looked at him without saying a word. Boda immediately understood. In a deep voice, he shouted, "Get out of here! Don't let me see you again!" Because he had offended me, Boda knew he needed to give me a satisfying explanation if he wanted to earn my favor. The blonde-haired man panicked and quickly started begging. "Brother Boda, I made a mistake. Please give me another chance." Boda was a major name among Shanghai's wealthy circles. If he blacklisted someone, that person would not be able to take even a single step forward in Shanghai. Boda frowned, kicked the blonde-haired man again and said, "Get lost. Don't make me say it a third time." After saying that, Boda looked at me respectfully. "Mr. Zhang, let's go." Then the group headed toward the elevator. The blonde-haired man was completely broken. In rage, he slapped his girlfriend and shouted, "This is all your fault. Meeting a woman like you was the worst luck of my life." Inside the elevator, Boda looked at Du Qian beside me and asked with a smile, "Is this sister-in-law? She's really beautiful." Du Qian blushed, lowered her head, and played with her fingers. I smiled and looked at the group of wealthy second-generation heirs standing beside him. "These are your friends?" "This chubby guy is Ji Linchen, one of my good friends. His family runs a foreign trade company," Boda said with a wide smile. After introducing everyone, I got to know most of them. Then he continued, "Mr. Zhang, I've already told my friends about your Porsche. They're all sports car enthusiasts. Could you let them see it?" I laughed. "That's all? I thought it was something serious. Since my car is here today, I'll take all of you to see it." Everyone's faces instantly lit up. They knew that cars like this were usually not driven at all. Most owners kept them as collectibles. "You actually brought that car out?" Boda could barely believe it, while I remained completely casual. What else are cars for if not driving? Otherwise, why buy one? The group of rich kids immediately agreed. Yes, cars are meant to be driven. We were just being narrow-minded. Look at Mr. Zhang's mindset." I took the group to the underground parking lot, where those stubborn young men immediately started praising the car. "This car is seriously incredible. Mr. Zhang, you're amazing. You actually bought it. It must be worth at least 80 million yuan. Du Qian, who was standing nearby, was completely stunned. It felt as though her entire worldview had been overturned. "Brother, you're incredible. You can buy an 80 million yuan sports car at such a young age." I smiled and shook my head. "It's nothing. The car isn't that expensive." That was the truth. After all, I had only spent 1 cent on it. But when the wealthy young people around me heard that, their lips twitched as they silently complained to themselves. Was this guy even human? An 80 million yuan sports car was not expensive? Were they beggars for having to think for half a month before buying a sports car worth 4 or 5 million yuan? Boda, who was driving a Mercedes-Benz, asked excitedly, "Mr. Zhang, do you want to go sing karaoke? We're going to a famous place." I looked at Du Qian. She hesitated slightly, but then nodded in agreement. I drove my 911 GT3 RS, following behind the sports car convoy of wealthy second-generation heirs. The other cars on the road all began moving aside. When the convoy suddenly stopped at a traffic signal, it practically cleared out the entire area. The drivers waiting at the red light started wondering which rich kids were showing off again. Even the cheapest sports car in that convoy cost more than 1 million yuan. The moment the signal turned green, the convoy sped away. Only then did the other drivers slowly start moving again. "Are you kidding? If we hit one of those cars, we'd go bankrupt." By the time we arrived, Wen Yihan, the owner of Paradise KT, was already waiting in the parking lot. When he saw my Porsche arrive, his eyes widened. As a supercar enthusiast, he naturally recognized this limited edition Porsche. He became so excited that he almost jumped with joy. Everyone was excited. After all, who had managed to obtain this car? Shanghai's wealthy social circle was limited. Whoever its owner was, he should have known already, right? At that moment, Du Qian and I opened the car doors and stepped out. Boss Wen Yihan froze for a moment. He had never seen my face before. "Brother Boda, who is this?" Boda smiled. "This is Mr. Zhang, my good brother." Boss Wen looked at me carefully, then warmly invited us inside. As soon as we entered the private room, Boss Wen quietly asked Boda, "Brother Boda, who exactly is he?" Boda gave him a mysterious look. "Old Wen, Shanghai's secrets run much deeper than you can imagine. For some matters, it's better not to interfere. Once someone can obtain a car like that, does its origin really matter? His strength speaks for itself. After singing for several hours and drinking a little, we checked into a nearby hotel to rest. I booked a separate room for Du Qian. I was playing on my phone when the doorbell suddenly rang. "Brother, are you asleep?" I got up and opened the door. The moment I saw her, I froze. Du Qian was wearing a loose white bathrobe with a wide neckline, and she looked pitiful. "Brother, I'm scared of staying alone in such a large room. Can I stay with you tonight?" I narrowed my eyes slightly, then pulled her inside in the next instant. She had practically offered herself to me. How could I possibly refuse her? The next morning I woke up and saw Du Qian looking exhausted. I invited her to breakfast. She gave me an indifferent look, then slowly went to wash up. When we arrived at the dining hall, I noticed the huge dark circles under Boda's eyes. "What did you do last night? You should be more careful, brother." Boda gave me a blank look. "Nothing special. I just listened to love songs all night. The soundproofing in this hotel is terrible." I instantly felt a little awkward. After breakfast, I got Du Qian's phone number and took her back to school. The moment I got home, I opened the Trillion Yuan subsidy app. 2 items immediately appeared: a Rolls-Royce Cullinan and the Global IM building, both subsidized to only 1 cent each. I was slightly surprised. 2 items had appeared today and both were incredible. I bought them both. 5 minutes later, 2 bags appeared on the table. One contained the Cullinan's keys and registration documents. When I opened the other one, I was stunned. It was the property deed for the IM building, and my name was listed as its owner. This was a building worth billions. I had thought I would only receive 1 floor, but I had received the entire building. I was honestly speechless. I was planning to take my new car for a drive around the building when my phone suddenly vibrated. I never expected it to be a message from Shen Yuchu. "Xiao Fei, can you come to East CBD?" I thought about it. It was not too far from here. "All right, no problem." When Shen Yuchu saw my reply, she let out a sigh of relief. It turned out that when she went for an interview today, the HR director had repeatedly bothered her about having lunch together so that he could get to know her better. So she immediately thought of me. Shen Yuchu looked at the sleazy director and said, "Director Zhou, I already have an appointment today. My boyfriend will be here to pick me up soon." Director Zhou pulled out his Mercedes-Benz keys and deliberately showed them off. "That's fine. If he cares about your future, I'm sure he'll understand if you have lunch with me." He believed a girl like Shen Yuchu was innocent and had not seen much of the world. As for her claiming to have a boyfriend, he thought it had to be a lie. And even if it were true, a boyfriend her age would surely be poor. Shen Yuchu immediately rolled her eyes. Still, she did not want to make things completely unpleasant yet. Director Zhou had many connections in Shanghai. At that moment, I parked my Cullinan a short distance away. The moment the car door opened, Director Zhou looked at me with jealousy. What wealthy family did I come from? A rich, second-generation heir driving a Cullinan at such a young age? Shen Yuchu, who was standing beside him, was stunned as well. She had expected me to arrive in my Porsche, but today I was driving a Rolls-Royce. I walked up to Shen Yuchu and smiled. "Let's go." Director Zhou was completely dumbfounded. "Your boyfriend drives a Rolls-Royce?" Shen Yuchu's face immediately brightened. At first I was confused. Boyfriend? What boyfriend? Then I instantly understood what was going on. I pulled Shen Yuchu closer to me. "Yes, this car is mine. Is there a problem?" Hearing my words, Director Zhou became embarrassed. He had been showing off his Mercedes-Benz in front of someone else's luxury car. His annual salary might not even equal the other person's allowance. He could only laugh awkwardly. "Well, since Miss Shen's boyfriend is here, I won't disturb you any longer." After saying that, he hurried away. I watched Director Zhou leave and smiled. "You told him I'm your boyfriend?" Shen Yuchu nodded awkwardly. "Don't overthink it, I only used you as an excuse." As she spoke, her heart started racing and her words became a little unclear. I smiled at Shen Yuchu. "It's almost noon. Let's have lunch together." After hesitating for a moment, Shen Yuchu nodded and got into the car. I leaned toward her and her expression immediately became blank. She sat up straight, her heart pounding wildly. What was I about to do? Was I going to forcefully kiss her? Should she refuse? Then I simply pulled out her seatbelt. "Remember to wear your seatbelt." Shen Yuchu froze for a moment and rubbed her sweat-covered cheeks. What was wrong with her? How had she imagined so much just because I was helping her put on a seatbelt? She had looked far too eager. After lunch, I wanted to take Shen Yuchu with me, so I called her, but she said she had another interview in the afternoon and asked me to drop her off. When I arrived at the interview location, I realized I recognized the place. It was the same university town where Du Qian was studying. No problem, I thought I could ask Du Qian to go shopping with me. I took out my phone and sent her a message. At that moment, Du Qian was chatting with her best friend in the dormitory. Wow! The moment she saw the message, she became extremely excited. Her roommates had just returned from English school. Qian, your brother is coming to pick you up soon. Let's go take a look. Not long after, all of them arrived at the school gate, attracting the attention of countless passers-by. Du Qian and one of her roommates were both recognized as beauties. They were among the top students in the art department. I honked the horn, lowered the window, and called out, "Get in." The moment Du Qian saw me, she ran over and opened the car door. Under the stunned gazes of the boys and girls around us, I increased the speed and disappeared through the school gate. Only the sorrowful voices of the boys remained behind. That goddess left with someone else. When I become rich, I'll buy a car and come here to pick up girls too. When you become rich, do you even know how much that car costs? That's a Rolls-Royce Cullinan worth 8 million yuan. Oh my god. Can money buy everything? No, sorry. Money really can buy everything. Meanwhile, Du Qian sat in the car and looked at me in surprise. Brother, why didn't you drive your Porsche today? I smiled and casually replied, I'm going shopping later. This car can be used like a cargo van. It can hold more things. Du Qian looked at me angrily. The Porsche is small, and the Rolls-Royce is large, so you use it as a cargo van? Would anyone actually believe that? I answered calmly. Later, we'll go to the entrance of IM Mall. Buy whatever you want. I understood Du Qian perfectly well. She simply wanted to get something from me, and money was the one thing I did not lack. Du Qian's eyes immediately lit up. Thank you, brother. The mall was divided into two areas, the shopping area and the office area. After shopping, I took Du Qian to a coffee shop downstairs. While we were eating cake, I saw a delivery rider rushing toward the mall entrance. The security guard stopped him. Sorry, delivery riders are not allowed inside. The rider pleaded, Brother, please make an exception just once. My order is due in 5 minutes. Please let me enter. The guard refused to move. No, this is mall policy. If I let you in, my salary will be deducted. The delivery rider begged again. Brother, this order is worth 170 yuan. Please make an exception just this once. He was practically begging for mercy. Only a few minutes remained before the deadline. Feeling annoyed, I walked over and asked, What's going on? The guard explained, It's not that I don't want to let him through. I'm only an employee. I can't break the rules. Hearing that made me angry. What kind of ridiculous rule was this? It was blatant discrimination. I thought I would have to give the property management company a serious lecture later. Seeing the delivery rider anxiously move toward the entrance, I said, Brother, you can go in now. I'll handle this problem. The delivery rider thanked me and prepared to enter, but just as he was about to walk inside, an arrogant voice rang out. Stop that delivery rider! Who said he could enter? I frowned and turned around. A neatly dressed man in a suit was walking over while yelling at the security guard. Don't you know that letting people like him enter damages our mall's image? I immediately replied, Damages the image? What a joke. The moment I spoke, the deputy manager turned around and replied, Who are you? What does it matter who I am? I just want to know who gave you the right to stop delivery riders and couriers from entering the mall. The deputy manager replied coldly, This was a decision made by our company's board of directors after discussion. Besides, who gave you the right to interfere with our company's decisions? I calmly said, Because I'm the owner of this building. The moment those words came out, everyone was stunned. Du Qian's mouth fell open, and her face was filled with disbelief. Then the deputy manager burst into laughter, his face full of mockery. What kind of act is this? If you own this entire building, then do I have to become the guardian of magic or something? Where did this idiot come from? Hearing that, I did not say anything else. I simply took out my phone and made a call. At the conference room on the top floor of the IM building, the chairman of the property management company, Gu Yihan, wore a serious expression. Everyone has probably heard about the building's new owner. We do not know when the new owner will arrive for an inspection, so we must watch our employees closely and make a good impression on Mr. Zhang. If the property contract is not renewed, our company will suffer a huge blow. Just then his phone rang. Gu Yihan frowned in annoyance. But when he saw the caller ID, he suddenly stood up and answered respectfully. Mr. Zhang, what can I do for you? The entire conference room fell silent. Gu Yihan's face grew tense. Then a cold voice came through the phone. I'm giving you 3 minutes. Get to the mall's south entrance immediately. If you do not arrive, you will face the consequences. Quick! Find out which bastard dared to offend Mr. Zhang, Gu Yihan shouted as he rushed out of the room. Meanwhile, the deputy manager laughed even more shamelessly. Oh, you're quite the actor. Anyone who doesn't know you might think you're actually the boss. Then he looked arrogantly at Du Qian. Beautiful lady, don't be fooled by a man like this. It is obvious that he cannot even afford to decorate the building, let alone own it. This guy definitely isn't the owner of any building. After all, his uncle was a director at the property management company. Do you think I wouldn't know whether this idiot is the owner or not? Before Manager Gu could finish speaking, a large group of people came running toward us from a distance. Chairman Gu, why are you here? Manager Gu's face immediately went pale, but Gu Yihan did not even look at him. He walked straight to me. Mr. Zhang, why didn't you notify me that you were coming? Manager Gu ran toward his third uncle and asked nervously, Uncle San, what is going on? Isn't this guy being way too arrogant? Uncle San glared at him and roared, Shut up! He is the new owner of our entire building. Manager Gu was completely dumbfounded. He had just mocked the building owner right in front of everyone. He felt as if he was about to die. I spoke coldly. If I had not come here, I would never have known how you people manage my building. Wow! It seems I need to seriously reconsider renewing the contract. Sweat began forming on Gu Yihan's forehead. Mr. Zhang, this is a matter of public sentiment. I don't know which bastard dared to put me in this position. I heard that delivery riders and couriers are not allowed inside the building. Who made that rule? Before I could finish speaking, Gu Yihan suddenly looked at the vice president standing beside him. You are in charge of this building's security. What is going on here? The vice president was already drenched in sweat. He suddenly swung his hand and punched the deputy manager. I'll beat you to death, you useless idiot. Who gave you permission to make this rule on your own? The vice president angrily beat the deputy manager. I said coldly, Enough. There is no need to put on this act now. This rule has been in place for a long time, and I refuse to believe that you did not know about it when he is your nephew. Then I turned toward Gu Yihan. Chairman Gu, I do not want to speak to either of them anymore. Gu Yihan quickly nodded. Then he turned toward the group behind him, his expression ice cold. Gentlemen, I believe Vice Director Jing Shun is no longer fit to serve as an executive director of our company. I propose that Vice Director Jing Shun be removed from his executive director position and expelled from the board of directors. The security manager, Vice Director Jing Shun, should be dismissed from the company and never rehired. Raise your hands to vote. The next moment, more than 10 executive directors raised their hands without hesitation. This was the cheapest way to calm Mr. Zhang down. The dismissed vice director looked utterly hopeless. If violence had been involved, it would have been a direct attack against Vice Director Jing Shun. Gu Yihan smiled and walked over to me. Mr. Zhang, I have dealt with both problems. What about the contract renewal? Hearing that, I remained calm. This kind of incident must never happen again. If it does, the contract will be terminated immediately. After dealing with the IM building situation, I returned to my eastern suburbs villa. Suddenly, butler Zhang Fu came to my door and said that his mistress wanted to invite me for dinner. What was this about? I was also curious about the owner of Villa Number 2. The moment I entered, the red-haired girl greeted me. Hello, Mr. Zhang. I am Ye Xingming, the owner of Villa Number 2. After talking for a while, I said, I don't think Miss Ye invited me to dinner tonight just to meet me. Ye Xingming put down her handicraft and smiled. Actually, my grandfather really liked the Dahong Pao tea he bought from you last time, and he would like to buy more from you. Hearing that, I understood and smiled. Since your grandfather likes it, I will give him some tea as a thank you gift. Because I insisted Ye Xingming could not refuse. Then the Ye family will be receiving a great deal from Mr. Zhang. I thought to myself that although the tea was not cheap, building a relationship with such a powerful family that had been rooted in Shanghai for years would definitely be beneficial. After I left, Miss Ye's eyes shone as she spoke to Zhang Fu. Mr. Zhang is truly not an ordinary person. Do you think we should involve him in the Donghai project? After hesitating for a few moments, Zhang Fu said, Miss, the Donghai project is worth more than 3 billion yuan. I believe Mr. Zhang is capable enough. However, dealing with the Mu Yuan group could be difficult. Hearing that, Ye Xingming frowned. Did you deliver the gift? I only met the wife of the Mu Yuan group's chairman. She would not budge. Ye Xingming fell silent in disappointment. When I returned home, I opened the Trillion Yuan subsidy app at exactly midnight. A notification sounded. New items had been added. Strengthening body reagents. Subsidized price, 1 cent. Maximum charm, subsidized price, 1 cent. Seeing these two items, I hesitated slightly. All right, I would buy them first. Congratulations on your successful purchase. Estimated delivery time, 5 minutes. Please wait for delivery. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. Your purchased items have been delivered. Please check your inventory. I carefully examined the item descriptions. Strengthening body reagents. After consumption, these significantly improve the user's physical body. Further improvements must be discovered by the user. Maximum charm. The user's charm level will reach its peak. The user may control whether their charm is displayed or hidden. A smile unconsciously appeared on my lips as I looked at both items. Interesting. I used them both. Suddenly, I felt an intense wave of exhaustion. I collapsed onto the bed and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, the moment I woke up, I immediately felt a terrifying amount of strength inside my body. I wanted to see just how strong I had become. So I went to an expensive gym near my home to find a personal trainer. Unexpectedly, I ran into Su Xian there. The moment Su Xian saw me, she could not take her eyes off me. She blushed and stared at me blankly. Realizing the situation, she quickly changed the topic and said she could recommend a personal trainer for me. I smiled and nodded in agreement. Then I went over to the bench press machine. I tried it, but it felt far too light. So I increased the weight. The trainer was slightly surprised by how effortless it looked for me. Even after the weight increased, it still felt easy. More weight, even more weight. Seeing this, both the personal trainer and Su Xian were amazed. People around the gym started gathering, and everyone was shocked when the weight reached 100 kilograms. That was already a shocking number. At that moment, a deep voice rang out, "What are all of you doing here?" The crowd stepped aside and made way for Coach Wu, the gym's top personal trainer and a former world bodybuilding champion. After learning what was happening, Coach Wu's face lit up with interest. Interesting. I want to see his limits. He continued increasing the weight. In less than 3 minutes, it had risen to 180 kilograms. Everyone was stunned. Even Coach Wu was surprised. There were no obvious muscles on this guy's body, so how could he be this strong? Although the crowd was shocked, some people still started whispering. But it isn't so shocking that even you should be surprised. Keep going. I spoke calmly. Everyone looked at my expression, and many of them were stunned. Coach Wu continued. Keep going. Raise it to 200 kilograms first. My face remained expressionless. After increasing it several more times, I suddenly stopped and asked the trainer, "How much is it now?" 260 kilograms, he replied. I hesitated for a moment, a little low. Raise it to 300 kilograms. Everyone's faces froze. Was he seriously speaking human language? 260 kilograms was considered low? He wanted it raised to 300 kilograms? Coach Wu stepped closer. Are you sure you want to raise it to 300 kilograms? Lifting 260 kilograms without any equipment is already extremely dangerous. I calmly replied, "It's fine. I want to test my limits. After all, if I do not feel pressure, the strengthening medicine will not have any effect." Coach Wu nodded. "All right, sir." Several people nervously swallowed. I frowned. "Add 15 kilograms. Coach Wu's voice trembled slightly. All right. Ye Xingming, who was standing nearby, did not know much about bench pressing. She looked at the coach in confusion. "Coach, is this weight really that terrifying?" The personal trainer answered seriously. "Let me put it this way. The latest world record in 2019, if he raises it to 315 kilograms, he will be extremely close to breaking the world record." Hearing that, Ye Xingming was shocked, and the look in her eyes became even more complicated as she stared at me. I raised my eyebrows slightly. This weight was close to my limit, but there was still room for improvement. Add more. I began increasing it slowly. 320 kilograms. 321 kilograms. Excitement appeared on the faces of the people around me. Some even took out their phones and began recording short videos. Coach Wu's breathing became heavier. 336 kilograms. 337 kilograms. 338 kilograms. The entire gym erupted in cheers. The world record had been broken. The world record for an unequipped bench press had been broken. The gym descended into chaos. For ordinary people, the number might not mean much, but for bodybuilders like them, it was practically a matter of faith. Coach Wu was excited, but he still shouted, "Stay calm," because he could clearly see that I had not reached my limit yet. The weight increased once more and reached 343 kilograms. Although I could still bench press it, I could clearly feel the exhaustion. This was the limit of my arm strength. Every fitness enthusiast around me was filled with excitement. After all, no one in China had ever completed an unequipped bench press of more than 300 kilograms before. And more importantly, this new record had been set by a Chinese man. "Brother, from now on, you are my big brother. No, my godfather, you are my godfather." I was extremely happy as well. I had never expected this level of fitness. That medicine was truly incredible. I had gained so much strength in a single use. I began wondering what would happen if I fully unlocked its potential. Coach Wu looked at me excitedly. "Mr. Zhang, congratulations on breaking the world record for an unequipped bench press." I smiled and waved my hand. "Oh, it's nothing. This bench press record was not even set in an official competition." Hearing that, Coach Wu smiled. He knew I was just being modest. He believed that even if I competed in the IPF Bench Press Championship, I would easily win. Then I smiled with a slightly arrogant expression. "This weight is only for ordinary people. I still need more training." Ye Xingming rolled her eyes. It was as if she thought I was joking. Coach Wu hurried over to me. "Mr. Zhang, I have authorized a black gold VIP card for you. All your future gym expenses will be waived." Coach Wu was one of the gym's shareholders, so he had the authority to issue a VIP card. Most importantly, there was a major profit-making motive behind that record-breaking achievement. I quickly understood what he really meant. I smiled and accepted it. At 5 in the evening, I returned home. At the same time, a video went viral on Douyin TikTok. It received more than 1 million likes and more than 100,000 comments. The comment section exploded. "Is this real? Can someone actually lift 343 kilograms? This guy is incredible." I remember the previous world record was 337 kilograms, right? "This has to be fake. Look at him. His muscles are not even that large." People in the comments were divided. Some doubted its authenticity. But the video's popularity skyrocketed and climbed to 3rd place on the trending list. Meanwhile, in Jingning, Dongshan province, a muscular man carefully watched the video on his phone. There was no sign of cheating in the way force was applied. Then he became excited. Although the record had not been set in an IPF championship, the competitor's strength was undeniable. He typed a message in the comments congratulating Mr. Zhang on setting the new world record of 343 kilograms, calling it a source of pride for China. The moment the message was posted, the comments section exploded again. "Wow! Master Mao is here! Master Mao has endorsed the video. All those trolls from before, come back and start talking now." Meanwhile, I was at home playing King of Glory and waiting for the trillion yuan subsidy app's midnight update. Then suddenly I received a flood of messages. One was from Ye Xingming. Just 3 words. "You're trending." I was slightly confused. Trending for what? Ye Xingming sent another message. "Open the short video app. You are number 1 on the trending list right now." I opened Douyin TikTok and started checking. The moment I saw it, I was stunned. Oh my god. I had actually reached number 1 on the trending list. Then I smiled and looked through the comment section again. I shook my head. My regal composure vanished in an instant. It was midnight. I closed Douyin TikTok, then opened the trillion yuan subsidy app again. 2 new items immediately appeared. Reputation check-in table. Subsidized price, 10 cents. Friendship overflow spray. Subsidized price, 10 cents. Having learned from experience, I decided to buy first and investigate later. The items were expected to arrive in 15 minutes. Then I started an exciting game of King of Glory. After defeating Han Xin more than a dozen times, I received the delivery notification. As usual, I checked the item descriptions. Reputation check-in table. For every 1 million reputation points earned, the user will receive 1 random reward. The table disappears after 3 rewards. Friendship overflow spray. When used on a specific person, that person will speak only the truth for the next 5 minutes. After that, the spray disappears automatically. Seeing these 2 items made me feel both amused and annoyed. Then a message suddenly appeared. It said that I had reached the required reputation level. For a few moments I was confused. How had I qualified for this? Then I had a guess. Reaching number 1 on the trending list must have been the important factor. Excitedly rubbing my hands together, I clicked the claim button. Another notification appeared. First stage reward, a Pagani Huayra Imola. That familiar feeling appeared again. A car key with a unique design. I quickly grabbed my phone and searched for it. Then I was stunned once more. The Pagani Huayra Imola was a limited edition car with only 5 units in the entire world. Its price was an astonishing 5 million euros, equivalent to around 40 million RMB. I had never imagined that simply going to the gym could earn me 40 million RMB. And this was only the first stage reward. Thinking about the next 2 stages made me even more excited. Then I checked the information for the second stage reward. Not yet available. The second stage requires 1.83 million reputation points. The reward will unlock after reaching 5 million points. How could I earn reputation points? A message appeared on the screen. The user's reputation points increase according to the response generated by the user's actions, including other people's likes and comments. Now I completely understood. Earning 5 million reputation points would be quite difficult. I casually swiped through my phone when my eyes suddenly landed on Douyin Live. I accidentally clicked into the live stream of a female streamer I followed. Her name was Big Stick, and she was live streaming outside at the time. Brothers, whoever finds me within 1 hour will get my WeChat ID. The live stream immediately became extremely active. Many Shanghai viewers were eager to try. The background of her live stream looked familiar. It seemed to be the square located not far from East Suburb Villas. Should I go check it out? It was very close anyway. A few minutes later, I headed toward the square while watching her live stream. Soon, I found the female streamer. Her beauty was genuinely outstanding. She was not using any beauty filter at all. I called out, "Big Stick!" She immediately looked up in surprise. "Did you come here to steal my viewers?" In less than 10 minutes, not only was she shocked, but every viewer in the live stream was stunned as well. The chat exploded. Everyone asked whether I was her friend, while others commented, "Bro, your speed is insane." I laughed and said, "I live nearby." The background of your live stream looked familiar, so I came over to take a look. The female streamer thought to herself, this was a wealthy neighborhood. Had she encountered some top-tier, handsome rich guy? Before she could figure it out, I quickly said, "I thought you were a beauty master. I didn't expect you to be Princess Chow. You look exactly the same in real life as you do in your live stream." Hearing that, the female streamer's face turned red with anger. Her pink lips pressed tightly together as she glared at me while gritting her teeth. She muttered in her heart, "You are prit.